You know that number you get at the doctor's office, the one they call your blood pressure? We hear it all the time, but what does it actually mean? Well, today we're going to decode it. We're going to figure out what those numbers are really telling us and what we can do to take control. You probably heard it a million times, right? 120 over 80. It's kind of held up as the gold standard. But have you ever stopped to think, what does that actually signify? Why those two numbers? And why is it the benchmark for good health? Let's dive in and find out. So to really get what 120 over 80 is all about, we have to start with the basics. We've got to decode what blood pressure even is in the first place. And trust me on this, it's way, way simpler than it sounds. Okay, so at its core, blood pressure is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's the force, the pressure, of your blood pushing against the walls of your arteries every time your heart pumps. The best way to picture it? Think about the water pipes in your house. If the pressure's too high, it puts a ton of strain on the pipes, right? It's the exact same idea with your arteries and your blood. All right, that makes sense for the general pressure. But why are there always two numbers? Why is it something over something? Well, it's because we're measuring the pressure at two very different, very distinct moments in your heart's rhythm. Let's crack that code. That top number, the bigger one, is your systolic pressure. This measures the peak pressure right at the moment your heart contracts and beats, pushing blood out into your body. Then you have the bottom number, the diastolic. This measures the pressure when your heart is at rest, in that little pause between beats. So you can think of it as the work number and the rest number. And it's really interesting. For people over 50, that top systolic number is often seen as a major predictor for heart disease risk. Okay, so now we know what systolic and diastolic mean. We know one is the beat, one is the rest. But what do those numbers actually tell us about our health? This is where we get into the ranges and figure out where you might fall on the spectrum. So what's considered a good score? What should we be aiming for? Let's pull up the official playbook from the American Heart Association and check out the good, the bad, and the zones you really need to pay attention to. All right, looking at this chart, you can see the 5 main categories. But here's the detail that is so important and so easy to miss. See, for normal and elevated, it says and. That means both your top and bottom numbers have to be in that range. But look what happens when you get to hypertension stage 1 and 2. It switches to or. That is huge. It means if just one of your numbers, either the top or the bottom, falls into that higher category, then that's your classification. And that last one, hypertensive crisis, well, that's a full-blown medical emergency. Seeing those higher ranges on the chart really gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? It makes you ask, why does this matter so much? Well, it's because when your pressure gets out of whack, either too high or too low, the consequences for your whole body can be pretty serious. You know, high blood pressure or hypertension is often called the silent killer. And there's a really chilling reason for that. It usually has zero obvious symptoms while it's silently damaging your arteries day in and day out. Over time, that constant strain can lead to some of the most serious health problems you can imagine. Heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, you name it. It's a problem that affects your entire system. But hey, it's not just about high pressure. You can definitely go too far in the other direction. Low blood pressure, called hypotension, brings its own set of problems. It can make you feel dizzy, lightheaded, and even cause you to faint, which is a huge risk for falling and getting hurt. It means your organs might not be getting the oxygen-rich blood they need to work right. Okay, listen up, because this is incredibly important. Unlike that slow, silent damage we just talked about, a hypertensive crisis is loud, it's sudden, and it's alarming. If you or anyone you know suddenly has chest pain, trouble speaking, or numbness, this is not a wait-and-see situation. This requires immediate emergency medical help. Okay, we've talked about the risks, and I know that can be a little intense. But now we get to the most important part, what you can actually do about it. And the fantastic news here is that you have a ton of control. This is where you get to be the one in the driver's seat of your health. Look, we all have a hand we're dealt in life, right? Things like your age, your family history, you can't change those things. But it's crucial to focus on what you can control. And as you can see, that list on the right is seriously powerful. Your diet, how much you move, how you handle stress, these are the levers you can pull every single day to make a real difference. So what does taking control actually look like on, say, a regular Tuesday? It's really about these daily choices. It's about adding more color to your plate with fruits and veggies. It's finding a way to move your body that you actually enjoy. It's paying attention to how much salt is hiding in processed foods. And yeah, it's finding healthy ways to chill out and avoiding things like smoking that directly attack your blood vessels. And this is the real secret here. This isn't about some miserable, overnight, complete life overhaul. The journey to a healthier blood pressure is built on small, consistent, smart changes that add up over time to write a much, much healthier story for your life. So, the next time you see those two numbers on a screen, remember what they are. They're not just data, they're a message. It's your body communicating with you, telling you a story about your health, your habits, and your heart. The only question is, are you ready to listen? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.